Hi, Judy.
Hi. Hi, Anil.
How are you?
I'm well. How about yourself? I'm here
Good.
hydrating, as you always tell me to do.
Yes, I have this big bottle of water with me.
Cheers, cheers,
Cheers.
cheers. We'll drink. Okay.
So, so a lot of the information that we have about all the experiences of our life comes from the past, and it
Yeah, because we
is
haven't lived the future yet.
yeah, it comes from the past, and it is saved in language, and it is saved in our modalities. There isn't another place where this data is saved.
As far as I know, I mean, it's my personal history,
Yeah.
and
And so tell me, if I begin to move this, does my traumatic experiences that I have in the past change?
it's a great question, and this is the way I would think about it, is that, when I think of trauma, I think of stressful events, right? The opposite of stress is relaxation.
Mm,
And so, if I take something like a phobia, let me use a phobia as an example. So, I'm a 6-year-old kid, I'm at a birthday party. There's lots of balloons and there's lots of noise and there's lots of joyfulness. And then all of a sudden, somebody throws a pretend snake at me and the balloons pop at the same time. And
yeah, freeze.
yeah, well, what happens is we are such good learners that in that
Mm,
moment, the stimulus, the timing, the intensity, where my attention, they all came together in the perfect way at the perfect time and kind of imprinted in my nervous system
yeah.
this kind of shocking, stressful event, right?
Mm,
Okay. So then I carry that. My nervous system has this kind of thing, alert, alert, alert. Snakes are dangerous. Snakes. Then I've created a belief
mm,
about something, right? Snakes are dangerous, right? All that jazz. So there's different ways from an NLP point of perspective. I'd go, look, I can go back and go, I have to kind of start to take this molecule
mm,
that
mm.
happened where what I saw, what I heard, what I felt, what I smelt, what I tasted all kind of came into a molecule. It's not a linear strategy. I don't think of the word snake and then say to myself, oh my God, there's a snake. And
Mhm.
then I have a certain feeling about snakes.
It
And
it
then I
just
remember this incident, right? It's a molecule and it's accessible from many places.
mm,
So
yeah.
how do I get a different perspective on it?
Mm,
Right? I have to have a different perspective on it. And that's the phobia cure for a stressful event, for example, is that first of all, I have to kind of get some perspective, some distance where I can look
mm.
back at it without being drawn
That's the
into the molecule,
dissociation. Yeah.
right? Without getting sucked back into the molecule. So I look, this is where I start to learn to have, and this is an NLP thing, it's a natural product when something changes to have stress. We're built that way.
Mm,
But then it becomes institutionalized. It becomes sort of an imprinted. It becomes imprinted in my nervous system.
mm,
So I go back. I look at it from a short distance, by stepping out of it and getting can I pretend that I'm you and look at it? Does that help?
mm,
Do I need to get even more distance so I can see myself in the movie theater watching Judy's movie of the snake at the 6-year-old birthday party? No,
mm,
too
mm,
close still. So I go into the control booth and then I'm in
mm,
the control booth and then I can see me in the audience and I can see me, as the smaller child. And then I can learn to control from the control booth. So ultimately, I'm breaking up that molecule, getting a different perspective on it, and taking control myself
mm,
of
mm.
my own control system, right?
Yeah.
I
So
hope I'm
it's
touching on the question.
yeah. Yes, you are. I'm looking at how dissociation, double dissociation, triple dissociation, as many dissociations as it is needed, and then being in power and control in order to distort that reality, which I've imprinted it so strong.
Yeah.
The tools are so effective, but sometimes when somebody has gone through trauma and when they come, they are not willing to let that go because they believe it's so strong, and sometimes it's difficult to explain that an impact happened in a second. Change also can happen that fast, if not that fast, but they want to believe that if it is a 10-year-old problem, it has to stay at least for 10 weeks.
So that's a beautiful, beautiful way to say it. First of all, we talk about trauma, we talk about stress, we talk about post-traumatic stress, right? And so they all involve the fact that a stressful event in the nervous system reacts, right? The autonomic nervous system reacts. Biological and physiological changes happen in my body. My immune system can react, right?
Compromised, yeah.
And my health can have health consequences, right? I mean, so I think in all of those are true. I think, in any of those cases are true. So let me say about the long term, which is what you're asking, and you're talking about a person creating a belief about it can't be too easy.
Yeah.
If it's too easy, it can't count
It
because I've
can't
been
be true.
doing this for a long time, right? But the beauty is that you learned it so quickly. Go to that level of, wow, what a great if I could learn that fast, maybe I can learn this that fast.
Yeah.
Right?
The reframe.
Then I have to ask, what kind of secondary gains have I gotten?
Ooh.
What has this got me in a positive sense through the years? And it may be that, people came to take care of me and, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I have to live up to that. I have to be honest to that. But, the validity, the idea, that, wow, I could learn it that fast
and therefore
have it be stressful. Could I do the opposite? I think that's important. Robert and I had a student, and this is talking about more post-traumatic stress, long-term stress, I guess. And he was a Vietnam veteran.
Ooh.
And he had, post-traumatic stress from being in the war. And I remember, it's been a long time, Anil, but I remember Robert and I said, let's take you back into the situation. There you are, you're in the jungle. What is the hook? What is the trigger? And it was all auditory for this person. Wasn't visual. It was all auditory. So we said, turn off the auditory. Disassociate, turn off the auditory. As soon as he turned off the auditory, he was still in the environment. He was still present visually.
But it didn't impact now.
But it did not impact. So you have to kind of go, what is the, what are the stimulus?
In which modality it is safe the most. I remember having a client once, 2 or 3 years ago in a room. She had a traumatic experience, and we did the visual or the VK split, the dissociation. And then when I asked her to see that event again, she showed nothing on the sensory, which means it had gone. But she kept saying that I'm still feeling bad. And this time her voice raised. It was more of anger than of the fear. The secondary gain, which you just brought out, I could get connected to the secondary gain, which you just said right now, and how we keep our pain alive.
Yeah. And, from an NLP perspective, it's not, that, stress is a natural byproduct of change as well, right? And the issue is not so much about avoiding a stressful situation, but it's about also how to cope effectively with stress.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I'm so sorry. I
don't. No. Go, please. You first.
No, I'm so sorry. I
don't remember now because I'm old. Go ahead.
Maybe I was so excited. I wanted to ask, how did all of you come together so quickly in so less time about this understanding of how the human code can change with dissociations and distortions. Like, it's so beautiful.
Well, I think it was probably through the process of modeling, going, here somebody, people would come with an issue, and we would go, well, let's try this, right? So we go, let's try, let's look at it, let's say, from this meta position or this observer position. So what happens when you just look at it from being outside of the complex of the phobia, let's say? And they go, oh, I can't do it, I get sucked back in. Okay, so maybe we need to go 2 times, right? So or 3 times. And so we would try that until we found something that was effective for that person. And then we would try it with other people and go, did they find it effective? This was the process of modeling subjective experiences, which what NLP is. It's the study of our subjective experience, not our objective experience. Yeah. I hope that
Great.
was the answer.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you, Judy. Really thank you for that sharing on trauma. It's a perspective, nice one.
I want to thank you too for your flexibility, Anil, and being able to make this more interactive and more of a conversation, because that's what life is, really,
Yeah. Thank you.
No, thank you. I appreciate it so much.